morning, everybody. Oh, it's good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening,
good everything.
Good everything.
At the timing of the sun right now is messing.
Oh yeah,
Happy-
yeah, right above his head, right?
I have to say, Naz, this is awkward. It's 12 o'clock. Well, I'm sorry.
It's a little after 12.
It's 12:08. And
Right
for
on
the
time,
first
Kevin.
time, Kevin, you're right.
Gotta give him credit.
It wasn't the 12 o'clock. It was the 12:07, 12:08 show
Yeah.
today.
Yep.
We've been working very hard to beat the posted times, and we beat them every day. We beat them every day.
Well, it was kind of like a dare, I think, and that's why Kevin did it.
Yeah.
It was kind of being passive aggressive by daring us to get in on time, and I guess it's working. Oh wait! Before we go any further,
Yes, boss.
I see Susan Ortiz is joining us today. She is one of our nurse friends who's right there on the front lines battling it out.
Okay.
And thank you, Susan, for joining us. And thank you for everything that you do. Thank you, and we
Yes,
pray
thank
for you
you.
every day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And your Bob.
We got Bob in the waiting room. It's Saturday afternoon, episode 22. We are live from Rabs, inside
22.
Rabs Country Lanes. And our good friend, Brooklyn's own, Staten Island's own,
There he is.
whatever you want to call
I'm
him.
back with
Joe
my
Cow.
Guido hat on because I need a haircut very badly, so I gotta go. Every time I leave the house, this hat comes with me. Yeah. So, yeah.
Joe, welcome back to the studio.
Thank you. Happy to be back. Happy to be back.
And you noticed you haven't been back since you moved
I haven't been
a
back
little
yet.
bit.
Yes, the panel, our dais is now in a new spot, so I like it. It's nice. We're on the promenade now. It's a nice touch.
Yeah. We were getting bored of the same spot, so now this is the third move.
Yeah.
We were in front of the pro shop.
Yeah.
And then we realized we disturbed a few folks by not being able to use the
I
door.
don't want to do that.
So here we are, and
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that we'll stay here. We might wind up back in the lanes. I don't know.
Yeah, I think we're gonna. I think we might be ready for another move. Maybe
Yeah.
next week or the week after.
Yeah.
And
Keep the public guessing.
yeah, there it is. There it is.
Joe, you laugh, but I don't know. You caught yesterday's show.
Of course.
We talked about things happening here first.
Yeah. Oh, I know. I know.
People are hearing it first
I know.
here before anyone
Breaking
else.
news.
Breaking news.
Yeah.
We're gonna have Joe come up with a little
Yeah, I can use
ticker
all-
for
yeah,
us, or
Yeah. I
some
can-
music and a
Yes.
maybe
Perhaps. Yeah.
Corona covered bowling ball.
Perhaps we
little,
could do that with the little fuzzies on it.
yeah.
The bowling ball with the fuzzies. And, yeah, we could do that. Yeah.
10-10 wing music. Yeah.
I will say the coming live at 12 was definitely a challenge today.
Yeah.
Not used to that. I've been getting up early every day, but then today to rush and
It
was a little awkward.
A little fast this morning.
but we wanted to get here early today, reach you at a different time, maybe surprise you a little bit with our guests, and I'm a little off.
Yeah.
We'll
It's okay.
figure it out.
Bob is on again.
He is. He's gone.
Yeah, I think because he's trying to hook up with Amleto.
Maybe he's trying to.
So
Let's hope.
we'll get them. We'll get them in here. So hey, we were just talking. So it's Bob Lauren's birthday. So
It is Bob Lauren's
we've
birthday.
got this nice birthday cake that smells amazing.
It really does. It's very tempting sitting right near the cake.
And you can't see the back of this, but Joe has eaten out
Yeah,
the whole back of the
It
cake.
took a little bit for me and my friend the Pope here. We shared a piece of cake.
You were, and thanks to our friends at Mark's Bake Shop for that.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you very much.
Delicious place.
Thank you.
Wonderful. Fellow Buck member.
There you go.
And when we get back and rolling, that's where our morning donuts come from.
Very nice.
Mark is awesome. He's been busy. They're doing the curbside pickup.
Yeah.
I stopped there the other day for a sandwich and a cappuccino, and poor guy's I seemed a little nervous to be out and doing his thing. But thank you, Mark, to you and your family for doing what you do. I can't wait to dig into that at some point.
Really good.
It's not a prop.
Yeah, no,
It's a real cake.
It's real.
Well, you were just talking about this cake. What were you just talking about before we came on?
I said when I used to work as a maitre d' many years ago, my part-time job, when I used to have to cut for the bride and groom to feed their new wife and new husband, I used to go to the back of the cake, a trick that my friend Louis DeLauro, if you're watching out there, taught me. Scoop the back of the cake out so this way the cake still looks presentable and nice, and the bride and groom, you cut their piece from the back of the cake. So just a very
little tricks and tips.
and you don't even really cut a whole piece. You used to just like
Just little-
scoop some cream
yeah.
off and maybe a little bit of cake, because they always inevitably the bride would put some on the groom's nose, or the groom would put some on the bride's face, and whatever. So they didn't really need cake; they needed whipped cream. So they got the cream. You know,
I would give them the biggest piece of cake so they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, well,
but they don't. And it's funny, in a wedding, how much do you eat? Like, you eat so much. Do the bride and groom really get to enjoy that?
not really. I can't tell you how many times we used to clean up the whole dais and their plates were still full.
Yeah.
You know. So, but yeah.
And the top layer they freeze, and
The top layer is supposed to freeze and have it on your 1 year anniversary. And yeah, God, that was a long time ago. That was like,
Unlike now.
wow, that was many, many years ago, like 25, 26 years ago I did that. Feels like yesterday. Wow, that's a long time.
reminiscent a little bit.
Reminiscent, because initially ABC didn't pay me the big bucks. I had to work part-time.
But now you're right.
You know, now, as my dad used to say, sometimes I can consider myself the hoi polloi and not the riffraff.
He's bougie.
Yes, no, well, far from it. There are people making a lot more than me in that place, believe me. But I'm comfortable and I'm happy.
But we need you guys to do what you do, and you've been working.
Oh my God, I've been working, I think, harder from home than when I go in. So I'm saving on my dry cleaning, and I'm saving on my cards going back and forth. The wage works I'm saving on. So it's been a bit of an adventure, but working from home has been quite busy. Yeah, it's television, so it's always changing. Program changes, and yeah.
Tomorrow's going to be the first day in 26 days that I actually stay home probably the whole time. And I know that's going to be challenging. That's going to be challenging.
That's a challenge.
And I love my family.
Yeah, but maybe you could actually stay in the house all day without leaving.
It's been nice to zip out.
Yeah.
And all right, that's a good sign.
Yeah.
It's been nice to zip out, come here, do this, of course, and get some things done.
Sure.
Try to get ahead or catch up.
Sure.
Again, nobody should have an excuse that to-do list is as large as it is.
Right, it should be clean. It should be nice and clean.
Yeah.
But it's when as far as work is concerned, like you were saying, it's harder to work from home. I feel
it is
because
sometimes.
you have to be. You definitely have to be more structured.
Yeah.
You can't just wake up like you usually do. You have to set aside specific time.
Yeah.
And force yourself to be focused on work at that time, right?
Yeah. I actually find myself getting downstairs to my man cave down in the basement where my office is set up now, and I try to log on by 8:30 every day.
Yeah.
So I've been getting into that routine now. This week coming up will be week four that we'll start working from home. So yeah.
Just remember, somebody's always watching. So if you don't log in, somebody knows.
I'm always the first one from my department.
I don't doubt that for a moment.
I am the ultra early bird. Yeah. Yep.
So today is Saturday.
Yep.
Episode 22. I keep saying it, but we got into the 20s. I don't know.
Yeah.
Day 26 of the quarantine, episode 22.
Yeah.
You guys have been awesome and tuning in with us every day, and we're really having fun doing this.
This is fun. I look forward to my Saturday outing, so I get out and come here and be with my friends and get to do a live show.
And our co-host Joe Bruno, I know you're out there somewhere. We miss you.
My right-hand man, Joe B. Not here, but he's here. He's in my heart.
And we are outside the 710 studio.
Yes, we're right outside 710 studio. Our Monday night, this is the place to be on Monday nights. When you're at Rabs, if you get invited to Studio 710, you're in the happening place. So hopefully we get that baby fired up real soon and get back on the lanes, but time will tell.
You're gonna have a lot of catching up. That. Your first show on a Monday night before bowling's gonna have to start at like 5 o'clock.
I think I may have to take that day off of work and maybe get here super early that day. Yeah.
Well, it's Saturday, and we've dubbed Saturday. What have we dubbed Saturday here on Live from Rabs?
We have dubbed it Pro Bowler
and / Hall of Famer Saturday.
Yeah.
And today we've got two great friends of ours, Bob Laursen and of course the one and only Amleto Monacelli joining us. I think we should bring them in.
Let's bring them in.
Come on in. Hi.
There they are.
Well, look, you got the center picture.
Hey guys,
you see me?
Yeah, we can see you and hear you.
How are we doing?
Can they hear us?
Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
Hey guys, I can hear you.
Bob can hear us.
Amleto, can you hear us?
Amleto's older than me.
Can't hear us.
He's struggling.
Yeah, I'm here.
We know, we see you.
Si tengo que apretar algo aquí.
We hear him.
Mira, bueno, pero
ahí está hablando Bob con ellos, como dice, bueno,
Ahí
esto
está.
está pasando,
You didn't know this was bilingual.
It is now.
It is.
It is now. We love it. Oh, can you hear us?
Spanish and English.
All right, he got us. Hey, Amleto, how are you?
He can hear Bob. He
You
can't.
can't hear
He
us.
hears Bob, but he doesn't hear us.
Right.
Hey, try that again. Bob, test him. See if he can hear you.
Amleto, you can hear me, right?
Yes, I can.
But you cannot hear them.
No.
That's not good.
No, he cannot hear you guys.
That's terrible.
Wow, that's not good.
Hey, you know what? Do we have him exit and come back in?
Amleto,
Yes. Yes.
close the app, go back to the invite, and come back in because your audio is not working.
That's what I did when you told me. So I'll do it again.
Yes.
I think you got to do it one more time.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Hey, Bob.
Hi,
Yeah.
Bob.
Hey, guys.
How are you?
How you doing?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing okay?
Good to hear from you.
Yeah, we're getting by. We're getting by. How was things down there in Tennessee?
Well, I mean, it's crazy everywhere, right? We obviously are dealing with cases in this area, but nothing like you guys have. My daughter lives in Brooklyn, so she's right in the middle of it there, and just doing what we're supposed to do, stay in and try to be safe.
Yeah. Good.
Amleto, welcome back. Can you hear us now?
Yes, I can. How are you?
There we go.
I love it. And Bob, test him out. Can you hear Bob?
Amleto, you can hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right.
Okay, so
Well, good.
so you got his hearing aid. That's good.
Wow, he's really hitting them hard about being old.
These guys spend a lot of time together, so I can only imagine what they do to each other.
Yeah, they have
Yeah.
matching shirts on, I noticed. So you guys really coordinated good. Very good.
We didn't get them out.
Yeah, no, we didn't. Sorry.
We picked a team concept to heart here.
All right.
We like it. Hey, Bob, happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Thank you, guys.
Day.
We appreciate you. We appreciate both of you guys taking the time out and joining us today. This has been I'm sure, as Naz told you, this has been a fun 22 days here. We've been going live every day and touching base with our bowling community, our local community, and anybody out there that's been watching. And having guys like you come on and talk bowling is awesome. So we really appreciate you taking the time, especially on a holiday weekend and your birthday.
And your birthday.
Well, I'll do anything for you guys. You know that.
And you're in a brand new house. You just moved, right? In the middle of all this?
Yeah, well, that's kept me busy. That's the good part, right? I mean, I'd be bored otherwise. So it kind of happened at the right time, I guess. The only problem with that is you have to move by yourself. So myself and my wife, I mean, we did it all. And I wouldn't recommend that, especially not, at 58.
He finally got some workout done.
Wow. Yeah.
Finally.
The only difference is my workout, I get something accomplished.
Oh,
And it doesn't require mirrors.
Oh, wow.
hey, where were you today? Where were you coming in from today?
Say it again?
Where are you today? Are you
in Miami.
Oh, very nice.
Down in Miami. Nice.
I love
closing the house.
Okay.
And then where are you going to go from there?
Well, it all depends when we can get out again. I believe, hopefully, end of May we're gonna be bowling in Brentwood, I believe, or Las Vegas.
Very good.
It's actually Texas.
Oh, Texas, Lubbock, yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
Lubbock. We started in Lubbock. It's not likely, I don't think, but that is the schedule as it sits.
Yeah. So, and obviously we don't know. So until the states come down and say more about getting together, I would imagine. And so you're talking about the senior tour.
Yeah.
Is that we're talking about the senior tour?
Yes.
Yeah. What's that experience? What has that experience been like for you guys bowling out in the senior tour when you can?
Go ahead, Bob.
Well, I mean, personally, it's been great. I kind of walked away from the game for a little while when I got off the regular tour, and it was a way for me to just reignite with everybody. We get together every year. It's like a reunion. And not only that, I get to compete against the guys that were really good back in the day. And honestly, those guys are still really good. I really thought when I came back, I'm like, okay, they've been bowling right through, and they're going to be a little beat up. But that wasn't the case. And we get new blood coming in every season. This year, Jason Couch is one, Chris Barnes another. It's not getting any easier. It's certainly as tough as it's ever been on the senior tour, but it keeps us relevant, I guess, and certainly from a coaching perspective, it allows us to evolve with the game, and we can basically give that information to the people that we teach.
Awesome. What about for you, Amleto?
I agree with Bob with everything he says. For me, also, it's more like he said, like a reunion. You can get to see the guys that you compete with them in the 1980s, 90s, and at the same time, it's like a little more relaxed atmosphere. I mean, we still have the competitive feel of it, but after you're done, it's more about getting together and have fun, go to dinner. It's not like it's not tense. It's a lot less pressure, I believe.
So, Amleto, we had a funny story yesterday when we shared that you were coming on today. We had a woman in our messages tell us that she remembered when you guys used to come to Atlantic City and bowl at the Showboat, because all the women would be out on the boardwalk in the morning because you would run on the beach in the morning.
Wow, this is a new one. I don't know.
well, did you run on the beach in the mornings?
Yes, I did.
All right, well, there you go. So it's a true story.
They do.
Yes, they knew. And actually, we were trying to dig up a picture because we thought that one of them might have had a picture. So if that appears sometime before we're done, we will be sharing it with everyone.
Okay, that's fine. I like to see that.
You were being watched. Whether you know it or not, you were being watched when you were out there.
Hey, on the theme of you two bantering with each other, I got a question from Kevin Rourke. So I'm gonna have Amleto. You're gonna answer this first. So, who has the edge when it comes to head-to-head against the two of you guys?
There you go.
Well, on the senior tour, I believe Bob, I think, might be 2-1 ahead of me. I'm not sure. And on the other tour, I don't know. I can't remember. Maybe once I remember beating him, but I don't know if we bowled too many times together in the TV show or so. Mm-hmm. I don't know if Bob has better memory than me.
Well, you're referring to the TV shows in general. I think that is we've only bowled one time on a regular tour against each other, and that was at down at Virginia Beach.
Yeah, you're in a final.
Yeah, and then on the senior tour, we've hit each other 3 times, and I think we are 2-1. But listen, I mean, we've encountered, we had so many matches over the years, so many years that we've competed against each other. But it's one of those things. It's odd because regardless if you win or lose in match play, you just want the other guy to at least bowl a great game and have enough pins to benefit from the match. So. But you do have to set that aside, being friends, and do what you can to win. But you never want to see a good friend bowl bad.
Right.
That's true.
That you guys are good sports.
That's true. They are good sports.
Well, actually, when we bowled together and I lost, I was happy for him because whoever won, we knew we are gonna be happy anyway. It doesn't matter. I mean, You still compete. You're still trying to beat him, but at the end of it, great if he won or great if I won. It didn't matter.
Well, and also, if one of us wins, that's dinner with a nice bottle.
Exactly.
And, so there's benefits.
So it's a win-win situation.
Yes.
That's good.
So do you feel that that's a newer thing, bowling on the senior tour? Would you have imagined that back in the day on the PBA tour? or was it more a little bit more competitive on the PBA tour?
Well, in my personal opinion, when we started bowling on the PBA regular PBA tour, here you are like trying to reach your goals, and and the goals were maybe cashing that week, and then the next week and try to make the top 24 and eventually make the show and eventually win one day. So you were more like striving, like working really hard to win. Here we got the experience. We know a lot about the game, the mental game, and all those things. So you just try to actually build up your own puzzle to make that happen. So it's not that well, I don't know if it's the right word saying easier, but with the experience, even though you're always gonna be a little nervous, but you can control that.
Yeah.
Back then, you're trying to compete, you're trying to be better every week. So it's a little more stress, I think.
Bob?
Yeah. I mean, personally, raising a family when I was younger, obviously there was more on the line. You're taking care of, your family. And now, I mean, obviously myself, my wife, but it is more laid back. We're not out there trying to prove anything. We are there for the competition. And like Amleto said, when you're starting, you're really trying to prove yourself. And the whole thing, when you look back on what they call a career, you never even realize you're having a career. You're just trying to go week to week and get the best results each week. And then you end up becoming old enough and someone comes up and says, wow, what a great career you had. You're like, huh? Because you never really thinking about that. You're like grinding, just trying to get to the next week and get the most out of it.
Right.
That's true. That's true. So if I can jump in with a couple of bowling questions for the two guys here. You guys had very different types of games. The way that like Bob, you always kind of reminded me more of like the Marshall Holman, like a Del Ballard, like more of a low on the approach, get the ball into the lane early. Where Amleto, more like a Mark Roth type from back in the day, holding the ball up under your chin. And then as you used to come back, as they used to say, you used to like to start the lawnmower when you used to throw that, right? So you guys had very different types, okay? Approaches, the way that you put the ball down. When you were bowling against an opponent, did you feel you had a better opportunity or a better chance against a guy that was more your type, or more of the other type? Like, say, Bob, were you more comfortable against guys who bowl similar to you, or would you rather face someone who had a totally different type of game?
Well, so there's two things there. One, if you're in the finals and you're bowling against a lot of people that bowl like yourself,
right,
then you're probably bowling in your element, right? So when you bowl against someone, like, for instance, I throw the ball very hard. I use my legs a lot when I bowl. So does Amleto, but I use them more because I hold the ball low.
Right.
And actually, I was trying to emulate Marshall Holman with my style. I just didn't put my other hand on the ball. And so that's a pretty good observation, Frank. But so when I'm bowling against someone who's opposite of me, and it may mean that they're in their element and I'm just there trying to make the best of a week. So I generally like to bowl against people that throw it more like myself, because I know that it's my A game and I'm able to go and do what I feel comfortable doing.
That's a great answer.
Yeah, I feel the same way, exactly like him. I feel more comfortable if I'm bowling somebody that bowls closer, like me, because I know he's gonna play the same area. And if I'm struggling, I kind of can see what ball is he using and what surface and what part, what is he doing. When you bowl with somebody like Walter Ray, which is completely different, and it all depends on the condition, the pair that you hit. So it's too many variations that you cannot control at that moment in only one game.
Sure.
There she goes.
That's a good point. So question again for each of you. I asked this question to Del Ballard last week, so I'll ask you guys too. Who was the one opponent that was the proverbial pebble in your shoe, that every time that you used to bowl against them, you were like, I can't shake this guy. I'd throw, I'd throw a four-bagger, he comes back and throws a four-bagger. I'd throw a triple, he throws a triple. Who's the one guy that you felt was always that one guy that put the most pressure on you whenever you bowl him?
Well, personally, for me, I mean, Norm Duke seems to have my number. He tends to have some fortunate breaks, or he does carry pretty well with his touch. But I've gotten in 10 frames on TV shows, and when he needed a double, he always got it, regardless if it was flush or not. It just didn't matter. So he's pretty much had my number, and I would say he's probably the one that is that pebble in my shoe. And what's worse is I don't have many guys that are smaller or shorter than me, and he's both.
That's a good answer. That's a good answer. He did that to a lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Amleto?
Well, for me, it's Walter Ray. It was always it's always a good match. It's always really tough match. I can't really remember like games like we were not close. Like he run out of it or I run out of it. It's always like a pressure situation, and pretty much with Norm Duke the same.
Yeah.
The difference with like me and Walter Ray and me and Norm Duke. Walter Ray, he after we got done, he if he lost, he wasn't really mad at all. But on the other hand, Norm Duke, he really get mad if really,
Wow.
I mean really bad. So
Yeah.
it's just difference, But basically, those two are always like putting a lot of pressure. No matter how good you bowl, they're gonna be close.
Yeah.
So what he meant to say was that he enjoys beating Norm Duke more because of his attitude.
That's what it sounded like to us.
Yeah.
Pretty much what he meant, yeah.
Sure, yeah, sure. So, Bob, here's an interesting thing. You were here with Jason Couch about, I want to say maybe 9 years ago or so, and you guys did a clinic here, and we were in one of the rooms, and you guys were, saying about how you got on the tour and what it took to, win. And then we actually got onto the lanes. We put our shoes on. A bunch of us went and bowled. You stood in back of me and watched me throw about 3 or 4 shots. And you said to me, I want you to try something. I want you to put the ball down a little lower, not as low as like you had it, but put it down a little bit lower under your belt. And when you push the ball away, I want you to just push a little bit left. Just get it a slight push left, and that should free your arm up, and you'll have a more relaxed arm swing. A week later, bowling league, I bowled my first 800 series. So I wanted to say
Waiting
work.
to say thank you.
I've been waiting 9 years to say thank you for that.
He's been here since, though.
I know,
I missed him.
I missed him. And for Amleto, we had an encounter at Carolina Lanes, bowling in the Pro-Am, about maybe around, it might have been about 7 or 8 years ago. Me and a bunch of my friends went to bowl, and you came over and bowled a game with us, and you were very pleasant and polite, hanging out with the guys. And a friend of mine said, so when you're done bowling competitively, what do you want to do, Amleto? What is the one thing that you could say, after I'm done bowling, this is what I want to do. I want to do something big. And your answer to him was, I want to go back home to Barquisimeto, and I want to open up a nightclub with a bowling alley in the basement. So I want to know, is that still on your radar, or have you already done it?
No, actually, not really. I mean, I believe that like Bob and I, we have so much passion for the game.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're bowling now, we're coaching, and you start finding out the things that actually you feel like you can do without actually waiting to end of it. You want to do it with,
Right.
because you have the passion, and that's the thing that is what I call the element. The element is to find things that you want to do no matter what. And
Right.
coaching is being actually in the last few years something that I'm really getting more passionate about, because
Right.
the gratification that we get when you see someone trying and working the things that you're trying to to help them out, and then you see them improve and they see the big smile in their face is very it's great.
Sure.
And but I think I cannot see nothing after that. Coaching is the thing right now.
Nice. Well, if you decide you do want to open that up, I'll come down there. I'll have a drink. I'll maybe bowl a little bit, and then we'll go downstairs and bowl. So I'll hold you to that.
So maybe you can tell us a little bit about the coaching clinics that you guys do, and how you two hooked up together.
Well, I mean, we've been lifelong friends, right? And we have done clinics over the years on and off together. And I really got into coaching when I became part of USBC coaching, and started doing, bigger things, I guess, and was able to create better materials. And when I left there, I talked to Amleto about doing more of these things together, and we set up trips all over the world, in South America, Europe, Asia. We've done them everywhere, and for me, it's really a win-win because we do have a shared passion. A lot of the things that he's learned from coaching has come from our time together, and which makes it a great match because we do think similarly and we work similarly, so that when you're working with people, you're not confusing them. So we really do well there. And secondly, most importantly, when we're in South America, he speaks a heck of a lot better Spanish.
Bob, you don't want to give us a little bit of your Spanish? Just a little?
Well, I've really become fluent in all the swear words by watching Amleto Monacelli. We used to get fined for that, but not Amleto. And then when Mika came out, he'd do the same thing. He'd be yelling at the top of his lungs, and nobody would say a thing, but he was just swearing. And Amleto would do the same thing. And I'm like, he's swearing. But nobody knew, right? So, but I've learned from him, and I'm really fluent in swear words.
That's good.
All right.
That's fine. That is fun.
You got no comeback there, huh, Amleto?
No,
He
I
knows
don't
it's
know
true.
what to say. I was going to say something. Now I forgot. Anyways, the clinics that we've been doing since 2014, actually, that's when we started with Bowling Revolutions. And like he said, we travel everywhere. And obviously, I started doing it at home with the kids in my hometown. But with Bob, I learned so much, through the years, things that I kind of see it and understood it, but at the same time, he had different approaches how to fix different things, in the games. And the great thing is, like, both of them work. So when it doesn't work, one of them with one bowler, it works with the other one. So we got different things to fix one at the same time. So it's not just one way. And that's the great thing, and that's we start to see. And at the same time, as you know, like in my career, my workout routine is very important, and that's things that we can apply to the kids growing up, because we want to make this sport like a real sport. We want people, to understand that it's not just throwing a bowling ball. You need to be fit. You need to work out your legs and things like that. So it's more like a school. It's a whole thing. And then on the other hand, the mental game and the how to control your emotions when you bowl and strategies that you need to do when you're reaching out the point that your mind starts now confusing you and your inner voice telling you the wrong things, and you try to work with that. So it's a complete package that we have that, and that's why we work out perfect.
Yeah, we couldn't have two other great ambassadors for our sport.
Really, for sure.
Absolutely.
Who and doing what you're doing now has been great. You guys have been here, doing your thing. You will be back. We got to get you back on the calendar after all this is done.
Michelle Durkin,
and Michelle Durkin pointed that out.
Yeah.
Michelle's the one we thought
Might
might
have
have
the
had
picture.
the photo of you with no shirt on,
Yeah.
running the Atlantic City boardwalk. So if she does find it, and you guys come back soon,
There's a beach right down here.
She
You
might
can
have,
go.
she might have you autograph that photo.
Okay.
We know we have to have you guys back because you guys really, and they say it, but they complement each other really well. They work well together.
Absolutely.
And then when they come, and even when they have other guys and ladies with them, they're very focused. That's a testament to the Revolutions program that you've built. One of our junior bowlers is tuned in with us, Maya, and she's specifically asking, "Hey, we're home. What can we really do to prepare while we're not on the lanes? We're at home." This has been a commonly asked question, and we've been asking this of everyone, and everyone has been able to provide something different. And so no pressure, but if you had to give your best advice for while working at home, what might it be?
Good, Amleto.
Well, I mean, to me, like when I'm not bowling, okay, for example, like when I want to take a couple of weeks off, the basic things to actually stay in shape, so when I come back to bowling, I don't feel so much out of timing, let's say, is working out, with your legs. The legs work out like, lunges, do stuff. So much stuff that you can find out through the internet that actually helps a lot. I mean, I have a lot of workout routines that actually I'm sharing with the kids on the school and the kids that I know. But basically, you need to stay fit in order. So when you come back to bowling, you're not gonna feel like the bowling ball is so heavy. You're out of balance and all that, and it's very important to keep that.
So it doesn't necessarily have to be bowling specific, just general fitness.
General fitness, because if, like in this moment, we cannot bowl. I wish we could bowl, but we can't, right? So, you can use your bowling ball. So many things that you can do. Actually, I've been doing, and actually, I put some posts on my Instagram about the workout routine. Heather DeRico, who's another bowler, she's got a great workout routine that she put every time on Instagram. So they should follow her too, and they can see all the workouts that you can do at home while you cannot bowl.
There you go. Yeah. Follow Amleto on Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that from a physical standpoint, Amleto's right to stay active and be fit. The other side of that is when you practice or have practice, if you're doing it correctly, you download the good shots and you delete the bad ones from your memory as much as possible when you're practicing. And therefore, you build a positive library of images that you can draw on and to visualize yourself bowling perfectly and throwing great shots with good feel and great results. And visualization is a great way to be able to get to where you feel like you have been practicing, that you are throwing the ball great, the timing feels perfect, the feel off your hand, everything is really where you want it to be, and just having that positive affirmation of the fact that you're bowling and bowling well. Then you go back out in the lanes, and your body feels it, believes it, and you've been working to stay fit so you can actually do it. So, both those really work well together.
Actually, but what Bob is saying also, I used to do it a lot when I'm flying. Like if I had to go from one stop to another, and I was doing that when I was on the plane, trying to visualize myself, getting relaxed first, and then try to see myself throwing the bowling ball. And it's amazing. You go to the lanes and you're feeling exactly the same thing that I was doing when I was on the plane. Just because when you visualize, you're actually feeling it. Yes. So it's like not only thinking about it, but you're feeling it. And when you start feeling it, and this game is a lot of feel. So when you get to the lanes, you feel like, wow, you're doing it. You feel that you're doing the same thing that you were trying to visualize.
Yeah, that's something I think is really overlooked in the mental game is visualization, and that goes back. I know Team USA uses it, and I know that it's very, very, and it's not just bowling. Other sports use it too. So it's a proven method.
Yes.
Yep.
Unless, of course, you visualize yourself leaving the Greek Church of Big Four.
Well, don't do that, Bob. That.
We try
positive visualization.
That's it. Delete the bad ones.
Yeah.
Reset.
So, both of you mentioned the school or coaching, and Bob, we know that you are the head coach at Martin Methodist College. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, Amleto, you can start. I'll be right back.
Well, he's been doing it for a few years, I believe 3 or 4 years. Uh, Last year, I helped him out going with some tournaments with him, just
All right, I'm
because
back.
just because he needed some help with the ladies. It's so many kids, and just by himself, it's very hard. So
Yep.
he proposed to me to go there and work with him. And actually, this coming September, I will be there, starting with the working with the girls.
Very nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Very
Yeah,
nice.
so he's gonna be our ladies head coach, which is great. We've really grown the program a lot over the 3 years, and we've gotten to a number that it's barely manageable. And I need someone else like an Amleto to be there and be able to take some of that time with these other players that I haven't been able to spend enough time with, right? And then also be dedicated to the women. So I think that we're gonna really do some cool things together. Again, he has been here a few times already, so that's where he came up with the idea that this is something he would love to do, and he's seen some of the talent that we have, and we have some really good players on our squad right now, and we've done a pretty good job retaining this year, even though we lost some key players, be able to get some good retention with the players that we have, and then bringing in equal talent, if not better talent than we had. So it's going to be fun. The ladies did well this year. The men, we were so looking forward to going to nationals. We actually had some people flying down to Dallas because that's where we had to go for the ITC sectionals. And some of those that couldn't afford to fly because that's separate from NAIA. So we do that as a separate trip. And normally it's in Smyrna, which is about 45 minutes for us. But we were drawn for Dallas. So we had to make the 10.5-hour drive and drove 10 hours of that drive when they canceled the event.
Wow.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, the one benefit that the people that were with me at the time is that we stayed the night, went to the ITRC, and worked out on the lanes. Rod Ross spent some time with them, kind of going over what Team USA does and stuff that I used to do when I was there. And so that was a cool experience to get out of a bad situation. But I really, really thought that our teams had legit opportunities to go all the way this year. And so it's sad for our seniors that weren't able to, I guess, see their final season to the end. But it certainly hasn't taken away the burning desire for the rest of the squad to try to finish it off for them next season. We were just on house party a couple of days ago, Amleto and I, with separate groups of our kids. We're going to do Zoom this week to be able to stay in touch and go over some of the things that we want to see them do over the break and get ready for next season. They're, of course, still finishing up their 2 weeks of school left, so they're online learning right now. And once they get past that, then we can start talking about our bowling program for next season.
So as a coach, what are some of the things that you look for in high school seniors as far as skill set?
Okay, well, skill set's one thing, right? You can see that they have what it takes either by having a great release or some real good solid fundamentals. I look at both those as being great potential and being able to build a bowler over 4 years. So that's different than what we do in these clinics in one day. Now we get it for 4 years, so the potential, that's all you need is something to start with and know, secondly, that they're passionate about what they're doing. Mm-hmm. We put a lot of time in, and if you're not passionate, you'll burn out or you lose focus. And we have the longest season of any college programs. So they've got to be engaged and they've got to be passionate to be able to come out and play. And then thirdly, I do look for those that have played other sports. Why? Because they've been taught more discipline. Yeah. Unfortunately, we haven't really been able to implement disciplines that other sports have. And so that means that they're more willing to do things that you're asking them to do. They realize that if they need to run they need to run. And if you haven't been brought up in any other sport, and you haven't been brought up in a program that has done things well, then you have kids that just, they just don't buy into it as well, and they don't do the things they're asked as well. So being that they play in another sport, that's certainly an attribute for me as far as choosing who I'd really like to have come.
Yeah, I totally agree. Amleto?
Yes, I agree 100% with Bob. And one of the things that I tell the kids most of the time when I see them, I get to talk to them about, what do we need to get better? And I said, talent is one thing, but passion is something that we cannot teach. If you have the passion and you have discipline, it doesn't matter, as much your talent. You can have a less
Yeah.
talent, but they have the passion and they have the discipline. They're gonna overcome the talent. Eventually, they will get really good. But somebody with a lot of talent that doesn't have the discipline and the passion cannot, you cannot reach goals that way. You just can't. It's a whole package that we have to try to, to input, put in each of them and try to make them understand it's just not the talent. You need to work harder. You need to sacrifice. You need to do many things in order to achieve your goals.
When I was with USBC coaching, we go out to the Olympic Training Center out in Colorado Springs for seminars and with other sports and different speakers. And the one day, the reason why that resonates with me is when it comes to discipline and passion is in every sport, the way they pretty much separated the elite players from people that were really good at a sport but never really took it any further was the fact that they could deal with the boredom of doing the same thing over and over and over without, and the people that went to the elite level, they never got bored of doing that. They would just go in and do it, and they do it as long as they could. And much different than someone that, again, with a long season, you have someone that's not passionate. They may seem like they're the go-getter at first, but if they don't have that driving passion, they're just going to kind of burn out and kind of not be as focused. And, the most important part of the season is the end of the season when we have the big tournaments. It is a long season. They have a lot of work at school, so they have to juggle a lot. So it really takes passion to make it all work.
Hey, you guys have you guys have traveled around the world for bowling and for pleasure as well at the same time. Your favorite places to travel to, and Venezuela can't be one of them.
No.
Well,
Italy.
I think we would both say Italy because we've made trips there. We've had some long trips there. Both our wives and us, we love a lot about Italy. The history, Amleto, of course, likes it because his father came from Italy and his family, is Italian. But I mean, I love the culture. We both.
The food, the wine, the coffee.
We may go for a glass of wine every now and then. Being my birthday and all, I got to have one standing by. And the food, the culture, everything about it. I think we both really enjoyed the time in the Amalfi and areas like that. They're just beautiful. Even though we've been to a lot of great places, but I know that I think we spent more time in Italy than any other.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Awesome. I was gonna ask you. I asked the same question to Jason Belmonte 2 weeks ago. His family has an Italian background, and a lot of his family came from Italy. And instead of coming here, they went south and wound up in Australia. So was it the same? How about you guys? Was your family on the fence about whether to come here or go down south? So was it a South America thing for you guys?
Well, actually, that's a good question. I believe like in the early 1900s, the people who migrated from Italy, they went to the U.S.
Okay.
A lot of people, like I believe well, I can't mention anybody, but I remember talking to people about that. Now, after Second World War II, World War II, the people migrate more to Argentina, Venezuela, Chile, Brazil. So it all depends what time of the century they migrate their country.
Yeah, that's right. So we're kind of paisans then. So,
Yes.
all
I
right.
didn't-
That's
That's
good.
good.
to know.
Just not New York.
Just not see if you would have wound up in Brooklyn, you and I could have hung out together because we're about the same age. You know?
Actually, in New York, I mean, so many Italian people that I met, in New York City, Long Island.
Yeah.
We got great restaurants like Giuseppe's that in Long Island, and
Yeah, sure.
it's kind of fun because you get to speak the language and
Oh, yeah.
the culture and
You get to speak the Brooklyn Italian,
the
right?
Brooklyn Italian.
Yeah, forget about it.
Forget about it. I'm from the whole Johnny Petraglia. Johnny Petraglia is from my hometown, or I'm from his hometown. So
Right.
we're Hurst boys. Grew up Brooklyn, and Johnny was, and he still is. Next to you guys, he's my favorite bowler of all
Yeah.
time. You guys are right there too.
Yes, he's one of the people that I admire the most as a bowler, as a person,
Yeah, he's good.
everything.
Yep.
And when we hang out with on the senior tour,
Oh my God! And the stories he has is
Oh,
just
yeah.
fantastic. You can sit down with him for hours, and you will not get bored.
No, for sure. He's Italian and he's from Brooklyn, so he tells good stories.
Yes, yes.
Give him a glass of wine and the stories don't
You're
stop.
fine. Yeah, you're fine.
I love when Johnny stops here and doing his thing.
Yeah.
He's working, but it's just we've got a great relationship that goes back a long way with our
Yeah,
families,
Sure,
and it just there's always another story. And how does it's like one of those things? How does that ever happen? How do you have a new story? I see you all the time, and there's just another new story, which is, and he always goes back to his roots here in Brooklyn,
He
which
does.
is really cool.
Yeah. He does.
Yes.
yeah, about the fourth glass of wine, he tends to come up with number two.
That's all of us, no, Bob?
That's good. That's good.
We were talking about traveling. One of our viewers, Mr. Marks, was asking, are there any states that you haven't traveled in the United States? That's a random question for today.
That is a random question, yeah.
No, I don't know about you, Amleto, but North Dakota, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, Nebraska. I don't think I've ever been there.
I think you've been in Nebraska.
I have.
Yeah,
Oh, maybe maybe
Omaha?
we had a tournament.
Omaha.
We bowled. That's right.
Yeah, that's in Nebraska. They didn't move it.
I can't remember I don't know what state we haven't been there. I don't know.
I think North Dakota. I think North Dakota is the only place that we haven't been through. We've been to Alaska. I mean, last year we went to Alaska in December to do a clinic. I mean,
Oh my God.
talk about passion or stupidity, one of the two. It was cold, really cold.
So stupid.
At Fairbanks, it was, I don't know, it was below zero without any wind.
All right. Question for the both of you. Your most memorable moment on the lanes?
Well, for me, I mean, it's pretty easy with the show that I had in my hometown.
Yep.
I can't write a better script than that. That has to be the most memorable day of my life. It was just, last week was the 24th anniversary of that. So I still get reminded of it often because it's still a record and people still remind me of it. And I get to see a lot of people on that show from my hometown that were great friends that may no longer be here in a lot of cases. And it was a time and place where our city, bowling was huge, and just being part of that, there was a lot of energy in that show. So it was definitely that for me.
Well, for me, it has to be 1988 in the Showboat Invitational when I won for two things. It was my first title in the U.S., but it was my second title because I won previous to that in '87 in Japan. But the most memorable about it was because I beat Mark Roth, and Mark Roth is my idol since I was growing up. I was like in Venezuela, and people flew to Miami, and they would tape, with VHS tapes, the TV shows every Saturday, and they would send them to me, and I would watch him over and over and over again. And then end up bowling with him my first time in the U.S. and beating him was like incredible. One of those dreams that you say you dream it, and it really happened.
Wow. That's cool.
So we're
Well,
gonna.
apparently, that's not your first title, Amleto. The first title was beach runner at the boardwalk in Atlantic City. It was a few years before that.
86, you're right.
Speaking about Japan, you brought up that you
Yeah,
found an interesting fact about
found
that.
an interesting fact today that when I was doing a little homework, that your first title was the 1987 Japan Cup, Mr. Monicelli, and Mr.
Yes.
Laursen, your last title on the PBA tour was the 2001 Japan Cup. So you guys have that. You have that kindred bond, even with the Japan thing. And Leto's first win, 87 in Japan, and your last win on the regular tour, 2001 in Japan. So that makes you guys even more connected than we know.
Well, that's Amleto's last tour title as well, because he won it again.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, that was my first title was Japan. My 20 title was Japan, and
Yep.
actually was in the same bowling center.
Wow.
And the lanes were wood still.
Wow. You don't see much of that anymore. Wow.
That's pretty amazing. Yes.
Hey, Bob, on that show in '96, if memory serves me right, wasn't Johnny Petraglia part? I think you beat Johnny that day, right? In the final, on one of the final matches.
It was actually the first match, and I shot 300 against him.
Right.
And the cool thing about that is Johnny would do the wheelchair veterans tournament.
Yes.
We'd have a doubles tournament with them. We were at Carolina just before 2 years before that when he shot 300 on TV.
Yes.
And experiencing there, we all went into the bar to watch. We stopped the tournament to watch him bowl, and then he shot 300.
Yeah.
And the emotion that drew from those veterans watching him, because he was really big for them. He did a lot for them, and they were kind of like his hero. I mean, he was their hero. Sure. And here I am feeling that same thing against him just 2 years later.
Yeah, he was on that show, right? Yeah. And
Amazing.
and wasn't Ron Palumbi on that show too? He was a
Ron Palumbi.
Well, I think he was, right? Palumbi was on that.
Well, he was in the crowd. He was sitting next to my wife, actually.
Oh, okay. Because I do remember him being. He had the curly hair, and I kind of remember him. I thought he was bowling, but he was a Pennsylvania guy too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for our little town of Erie, Pennsylvania, we had Palumbi and myself. We bowled together on the same junior league team.
Wow.
And then went out with aspirations of going out on tour and winning titles, and we were able to achieve that. And then you have Mike Machuga, who as well, and then his brother-in-law who lives in Erie as well, Mike Shady.
Okay. Wow.
So for a very small town, we've had quite a bit of success coming out of there. And going back to again how good and structured, how well structured our youth programs were, that helped a lot. And it made it meaningful, right? So
Sure.
that, and of course, watching every Saturday,
Oh, yeah.
watching our heroes bowling on Saturday didn't hurt us none.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
How important do you think that is for the future of the sport and for youth bowlers to see that, to look up to?
Well, out of sight, out of mind. So being able to see it and seeing it regularly, so people know when to find it. And again, we see the scheduling again. Got changed to Saturday, which I like anyway, just because it brings back what we used to have. But the fact that we have appointment TV, for a while we were scattered and we lost the following because of it. And I think I know with my high school, my college kids. And a lot of the college kids, they are those kids that, were me growing up. They're really engaged. They talk about the shows. They talk about, what balls they're using, how they're playing the lanes, blah, blah, blah. And so it means a lot.
Yeah.
I just think you have to have, it has to be inspirational, aspirational. You have to have a show to be able to, incite that.
Yeah.
Amleto?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I mean, I think it's very important that they have the shows and actually at the same time every weekend, so people know that they're waiting for that time to see it. Just like when we were on ABC Sports, every Saturday afternoon at 3:00, everybody was waiting for that moment. But when they start changing times and it's kind of hard to follow, you're going to lose followers. But I think right now we're in the right direction with the new group that took over the PBA, Bolero. I think they're doing a good job in flow bowling and all that. I think we're in the right track right now.
Yeah, and the being on Fox. So the cool thing is that you've got majors on a major network, and then you have the Fox Sports 1, but you've got a mixture of it at regular schedule. I couldn't echo that more. The ladies a little bit more scattered maybe, but there were some Tuesday night shows. In the summertime, bowling's on I think it's Tuesday night at 7 o'clock on CBS Sports, which is great because it's a set time. And the ratings have been great. So the PBA is reporting great numbers, and it's exciting to see that. And Michelle Durkin reminds us that she grew up watching ABC Sports on Saturday. She never missed it. Right. We were hoping that Amleto was on the show every week.
Well, you know what? On that note, I'm going to piggyback on that because Amleto, I can tell you that the producer who used to work on that show, her name is Carol Letty. Used to work.
Yes, Carol. Yeah.
Carol, right? Okay.
Yes.
I work there. ABC. That's where I work. And I can tell you that you were her favorite bowler. She used to leave to go to the show stop. Unusually, she would fly out like on a Thursday, maybe a Wednesday night. And she would always say, God, I hope Amleto makes the show this week. You were her favorite bowler. So she had
That's funny.
And she was the producer of that Pro Bowlers Tour for a long time.
Yes,
right up to the end.
We saw it every weekend. Over there. Yes.
Yeah, all those guys who worked in that truck and all that, I scheduled all them. That's what I do. Yeah, I worked there. All the technicians.
That's great.
All that, yeah. So you definitely were one of the favorites of all the ABC Sports crew, for sure.
And the girls on the balcony at the showboat.
Yeah, and the girls at the beach. Waiting for you. Yeah, sure.
Well, the crew, the ABC crew was like family to all of us too.
Family, yeah.
And they really were.
Yeah.
We get to see him every week and get to talk to him and whatnot. And so I mean that was just part of our tour as well that made it so great to be part of.
Absolutely.
Yep, for sure. Yeah, I remember the last show with Nelson Burton, him and Schenkel. They couldn't even finish. They were both breaking up crying. It
Unbelievable.
Yeah. That was like a family. You're right, Bob. That was very. That was a good crew.
Yes, it was. Yes,
it was. Yep.
And talk about men with stories. Nelson Burton's got a lot of stories.
Yeah, he does. He does. Yeah, he does.
Yes, he does.
A glass helps him too.
Yeah, for sure.
As it helps all of us.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys have been awesome. We really appreciate you dropping in and spending some time with us today. It's great stuff. And so we appreciate you sharing your knowledge and of course the stories. I said, listen, talking these stories with you guys. Yep. Of course, Bob reminds Amleto that you're older. He's older than you. He's younger than you. But we really do. And we're gonna have you here back at Rab soon.
Absolutely.
And we got your cake. We have your cake.
We're gonna light the candles.
Yeah.
We could light the candles.
Yeah.
It's a lot of candles. Hope you look at the numbers.
It's only 10.
It's only 10, like a rack of pins.
All right.
Can you even light the candles? Oh God,
we're having some technical difficulties.
Yay!
We spared you of our singing.
I'll drink to that.
There you go.
Oh, that's what we should have had.
Salute.
Bob should simulate a blowing of the candles. You're going to blow them out for him. You might not be able to light all of them. You might burn us down.
Yeah. But off
I
camera.
I don't think he has enough bread for that.
A little. She, of course, is going to light every single candle.
Of course I am.
Yeah.
That's okay, Bob, because I'm a 62 child too. You were born the same year, Bob. I'm a 62 guy, so you're in good company.
Are you older or younger?
November, you got me beat.
All right.
Hey, Bob, what are the birthday plans?
Well, my wife made me my favorite. Now, I know a lot of people say, my wife makes great spaghetti sauce, but she actually got this recipe 35 years ago from an old Italian lady. And she does make an amazing sauce. She's making that for me today. And then my favorite, chocolate chip cookies. So she's baking me chocolate chip cookies. And I actually like milk with my cookies. So I went out and bought 2 gallons of milk. So I figure I can get through about 3 dozen of those cookies.
Very nice. Good for you. Excellent.
It's funny. The sauce or the meatballs? It's gravy or sauce in your house?
Right. Is it gravy or sauce?
Sauce.
Sauce.
Amleto is the gravy or sauce.
Oh my God.
Is it gravy or sauce, Amleto?
All right. Yeah,
I like that sauce too.
make a wish so we can. Bob's gonna make a wish, but Lazarus
Go
gonna
ahead.
blow it
Make a
out
wish,
for you.
Bob.
Here.
Don't spit on our cake.
There we go.
All right. Hey guys, thanks again.
Thank
Bob,
you.
happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Bob.
Thank you, guys.
We look forward to
Thanks for having us on.
Thank you.
Thank you for
We had a
letting us
great
see you
time.
soon.
Ambassadors for the game. You guys are great.
I love your name, Nazareth. I like that.
Thank you.
All right, we'll
Take
see you
care,
guys.
guys. Thank you so much.
Thank
Take care.
you.
Right.
You did the math of it.
They're great.
They were great. Yeah.
That was awesome.
You like how he says your name?
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
We should clip that so that way
Yes.
you have that all the time.
Yes. That's just finance.
I'll put that on my ringtone.
Yes.
As my ringtone.
I like
Nazareth.
Nazareth.
I cannot come to the phone right now. This is Amleto Monacelli
Yes.
from Barquisimeto.
Barquisimeto, Venezuela. I have to tell you, I think that where he's going to be coaching, there's a lot of happy moms of those girls that are on that team. And I think here on our home borough, there's a lot of women that can't wait for him to come back here and take a jog on South Beach.
I have to say, when he was up here last time, when they were both up here last time, great communicators and really nice gentlemen.
Yeah.
I mean, really, we couldn't have asked for, like Frankie said earlier, true ambassadors of the sport.
They really
inclusive guys. Very, very nice.
They really, and you know what? ABC, the crew that worked, that was the honest truth. They all loved the guys there, but Amleto was their favorite.
Well, he's a nice guy.
Yeah.
He's obviously
Yep.
attractive.
Yes.
And,
Yes. He.
and it helps when they're nice.
Yes. Very, very, very nice.
Yeah, and their relationship,
Right,
you can
and
see
that
it goes
is
back
nice.
a long way. And when you see these guys together, you think that's great. You have to see them together, and they're constantly breaking each other's jobs.
Yeah.
They are the
Yeah.
new Costanza and Seinfeld, it seems.
Yeah. Naz, that inspired me. I'm going to learn a new language so that we've dropped a few bombs on the show.
Yeah.
Kelly Kulick, for fact, was the first to drop a bomb on the show. She used the crap word, and for the first guest.
Yeah.
And I reminded Kelly a couple times that we were laughing about it. But we might have to learn a new language so that way we can say whatever we want.
Yeah.
And
nobody will know.
Maybe they will. I don't know.
Right,
We've got worldwide ratings.
We
here.
do. We're ratings bonanza.
Caught all over the world. I know some Italian, but so does everybody else.
I can teach you some Brooklyn. I can give you a little bit of Brooklyn. So
Yeah.
that's a language all unto itself.
Well, that was great. And a happy birthday to Bob.
Yeah.
Happy birthday.
This cake. looks
I mean,
really
it's
good.
not the best way to have to celebrate your birthday,
No,
but you do what you can.
Yes.
Tomorrow is Easter Sunday.
Yes.
Certainly not the same old Easter that we're used to.
Yeah, it's not. It's a little sad.
Even my friend the Pope is shaking his head no. It's not the same.
I think maybe this brings with it a little bit more appreciation for what we took for granted for so long. You know, the whole getting together with your family. Some people blew it into a big thing where it almost became an annoyance.
Yeah.
But, you know, simple, just be with each other. And I think that's what everybody's missing right now. And, you know, hopefully we'll go back to a time where things are simpler, you know.
Yeah, and we our Jewish friends who are celebrating Passover, I said it the other day, I love seeing the Zoom calls, the Seder dinners, and I'm hoping the same happens tomorrow where families still can get together, but in the digital space. It's not the same. Listen, we have traditions. A tradition totally broken this year. Usually everybody comes in, we make the pizza rustica with my aunt. It starts here, and then whatever we cook, and so we kind of, you know, it's a little mixed up. So you know what? Again, to your point, you know, new traditions. Lots of reflection, lots of opportunity to watch a Sunday Mass. Through I've seen some of our priest friends doing some masses on Facebook, YouTube. So take advantage of those opportunities and welcome that into your house. So as us Italians would say, buona Pasqua.
Buona Pasqua. Buona Pasqua. Yeah, you can watch tomorrow, Channel 10 at 9 a.m. We'll have the Easter Mass. That's WLNY for you folks out there who go with your different cable providers. I can't get the television guy out of me. WLNY.
And the other New York tradition is the Easter Parade. So, you know, these are things you're missing out on. And so we're going to take a break. We don't have a show tomorrow. Doesn't mean we might not pop in and say hello.
You never know.
Tomorrow, Easter Sunday, you never know what's going to happen.
Never know.
Live from Rabs.
That's right.
Maybe Maz and I we'll pop in and say hello. But we no show tomorrow. But we're back at our regularly scheduled time on Monday, 2:00. It's Music Monday, and so we're getting ready. We're working on our guest this week. We've got a guest-filled week, and you'll hear more about it over the week tomorrow and Monday. And the next Saturday, in the theme of Pro Bowler Saturday.
News to me, too.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
Breaking news.
This is a special report.
The first family of bowling, the Bone family is going to be joining us next Saturday.
My one-time look-alike until he shaved the mustache.
Well, wait till you see him. So him and Leslie were live on Facebook yesterday, and he's got a beard going.
Really?
Yeah.
I could do that in like 2 days.
Maybe you should grow it for next Saturday.
I don't grow it on my head, but I can grow it on my face. I can have it beard by Tuesday morning.
So next Saturday, we look forward to the Bone family coming in.
Oh, awesome!
We talk about stories and what's happening there.
Oh, yes.
That'll be great. So, an awesome week ahead. We hope you enjoy your family. Remember to wash your hands.
Definitely. Don't touch the faccia. Don't touch you faccia, please. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh,
I saw something yesterday. They were talking about that the average person touches their face 30 times an hour.
Yeah. It's
so, and they said it's just human nature to touch your face somehow, but
it's a nervous habit.
And especially at a time now when allergies are raging.
Oh, they're brutal.
It's difficult not to.
This change of weather is crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely crazy. Yeah. Hey, we have to make sure. So we keep talking about food and how we're handling this at home. So today's meme of the day, I thought this was hilarious.
Yes, finally, COVID-19 is gone. Now, how do we get out?
I hope none of us look like that.
Maybe some butter around the door frame they can slip through. Maybe a shoehorn. I'm not sure, but it's going to take some doing.
We talked about this. I actually lost weight, and I think that's from not going out, eating early. All of those things. I'm a late eater. It's crazy. But my mother, not so much. She keeps complaining about that.
You know what I think?
But we're eating great. We're eating healthy.
The intermittent fasting is the big thing right now.
Yes.
And it goes back years of a way to eat healthy.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe these new habits, we kind of doing it. I know me, I wake up, I don't eat in the morning. So I don't eat until like after we leave here. So that's at least 16 hours probably of 12 to 16 hours of not eating.
That's a lot of fasting.
But and then when I go home, I'm eating salad, I'm eating, chicken or whatever. So we're not having as much as.
The snacking in between.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes. The
yeah,
snacking is the.
When we go to sit down and watch that TV late at night, though, that's the,
Yeah.
you want to go.
Yeah.
You want to go grab something. So
Yeah.
we've been good. I haven't been able to grab popcorn, though. We have no popcorn in the
I
house.
actually
No
bought
kernels,
popcorn.
no popcorn. So that bothered me a little bit.
I have a Rice Krispie treat waiting for me tonight.
Hey,
I have it hidden. Don't.
No, nobody knows.
Hidden for me.
Thanks again for joining us.
Yes, thank you.
This was Live from Rabs, episode 22.
22.
We'll be back at it on Monday, regularly
Don't
scheduled time, 2:00. Please share our videos. Share our videos with your friends, your family. We want to be able to share the entertainment, the enjoyment that you're having with others that we're not reaching. If you're watching us on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Like, subscribe, share, please.
Thank you, Bob and Amleto.
Yeah, they
Thank
were
you,
great.
Joe, for coming back to the studio.
We miss
You're
you,
always
Joe,
welcome.
when
I
you're not
wish,
here.
and I miss you guys too. I wish I could make it during the week, but
It's okay.
that darn television network that I work for, it's always something. But that's okay.
You have to work.
Yeah.
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter all.
Yes.
Hope says
That was awesome.
Just set it for when you
We'll see you Monday.